Alright, guys, welcome in this very video. I welcome one more time all of you as the host of the show, as the host of this very channel, as the host of this very video. Of course, you're going to be seeing just this face. You do not expect anybody else as being the host, as I'm the only one who's got the power. Never mind. What are we discussing today? We're going to be discussing how to learn a new accent in English. Obviously, that's what we're discussing today. How do I learn a different accent coming from a different accent? What is that? So when I say, like, you understood the point, right? When you are coming from a different accent, you're wanting to learn a different one so that you can sound like a different person, so that you can be considered as a different person, as a different speaker, as a better speaker. Probably that's what you're assuming, that's what you are wanting to do with this, by after you achieve a different accent. I can talk that way. I can also talk like right now I'm talking, so that you can understand me properly. Not saying that earlier when I was talking like that in a different accent, so maybe I'm not saying that you were not able to understand me properly. I was just saying that it was a different way of speaking, not just a different accent, but also a different way of speaking. That is why it is really important to know. I should take a break, right? That is why it is really important to know that when you are learning a new accent, it does not entirely mean that you are going to automatically speak in that style. Accent, style, they both are very, they go line by line. So when you are, let's say, you learn a new accent, you will also learn a new style of speaking. Isn't that what accent means? I'm not very sure of that. You see, I really don't want to go into much details, because in daily life you're not going to be get into conversations wherein you discuss about, this is a different. There's a difference between accent and a way of speaking or a style. Unless you are somebody like me who would want to explain this to people, uh, to the needful people, those who are curious. Earlier what I was talking about is that I just gave you a real life example, a live example of how one does switch from a certain accent to a different accent. So just about a minute ago, I guess so, I was trying to speak in a different accent, which is mostly considered as an Indian one. Right now this isn't primarily 100% Indian one. You could observe few bits of different accents getting combined or already combined. How to do that? First off, just assume it as a skill. Not a skill that would be written on your resume, that you are able to speak two accents, Indian and American. For instance, let's say American, because writing British is not my cup of tea. It's something that I can't even dream of. I don't want to dream of. Basically, it's because it's too majestic. Never mind. Again, it's the fact that I've been exposed to American accent more than to British ones, so I would naturally get aligned with the American one. I would naturally be on the side with the American one than the British one. Although I consider British one as a more majestic, but that's not what we discuss. That's not what we are focusing. So how do you improve? How do you not improve, but how do you obtain a different accent? It's really, really simple. I do not honestly know why people have made it so complex. Why people have, displayed it as a complex topic. I personally haven't watched millions of videos exploring this topic, but I know for a fact that this is how things work in real life. So people try to exploit. People try to, manipulate others, those who are not so, uh, aware of such techniques. Let's just understand it very, very easily. How do we do that? You see, the better way is to go with experience, my own experience. I really don't think that if I just talk about that, to do this, do that, do this, do that, step one, step two, step three, up until when I reach step 100, I don't think that's really necessary and it shouldn't be done this way. When I say that I will talk about my experience, so it means that I will be just simply giving you examples of my own life, how I achieved this. About two and a half years ago, I was, uh, you could consider it to be somewhere close to 3 years ago also. I was in bad need of improving my English. Not that before thinking that I was in bad need of improving my English, not that I was a bad speaker. I was a fluent speaker. I was someone that who could speak for hours. Still, there was something that was making me uncertain of my skills. In let me just think. And there was a time when I got addressed to an online platform. So that platform was giving me opportunity to go, register as a tutor. That was going to be a great source of income also. I mean, not a very big source, but also, but you see, at least a source of income, because at that time I was not earning at all. So it was, uh, it was going to assist me in some way possible. But that thought that when I'm going to teach someone or tutor someone, I should be well received as a speaker. I should be able to, speak in an accent that is being understood by majority of the people or the learners. That was the curiosity that had me drawn into, wanting to learn a new accent, specifically the American one. I used to practice speaking quite a lot back then. You know what I did? I stopped. I abandoned speaking. It's so easy to listen to this. It's so easy to, grab this sentence when I said I abandoned my speaking practices. It's so easy for you, but for me it was not. When I say I abandoned my speaking practices, I basically abandoned, you know, 2 or 3 hours of my entire day that I was dedicating to speaking to different people so that I could become a better speaker. That's what I was told. That's what I was, thinking that is absolutely going to help me for longer run. Why did I stop speaking? Why did I stop speaking practices? I found, I mean, I did not discover, but I found that listening does play a major role in improving our speaking abilities. So and so that you could get it in this formula, such as speaking, not speaking, but listening is twice of your speaking. So the more practice of listening you do, that is equivalent to the twice of your speaking practice. So, what did I do after abandoning speaking practices for some time? I primarily focused on listening practices. What was that? Just audiobooks. On top of that, not just listening to an audiobook, it was more it was more than that. You see, when you listen to an audiobook, you get recommended by people that listen to this audiobook or that audiobook, depends on uh, who you're asking. And later on you get a number of you get a collection of books that you can listen to, audiobooks I'm referring to. Then you decide, say that that audiobook lasts for about 45 minutes. You listen to it in one day, you finish it off. Second day, you change to a different one. You switch to a different one. Let's say that it lasts for about 50 minutes or 1 hour. You pay attention closely and finish it off the second day. Third day, fourth day, such this process follows. Not the right way, believe me. In the very beginning, when I said that accent, a speaking style, a way of speaking, they both go line by line. When you are wanting to learn accent, you are also indirectly or directly wanting to learn a different way of speaking, a style. You must provide adequate input to your brain, adequate inputs of constant listening. When you listen to something just once and expecting yourself to remember everything, suppose that this is that audiobook is just maybe about it is about American accent. The next audiobook is about British one. So if you are just listening to the American accent once and then you switch on to the British one, you do not expect yourself to be a master of British accent, or either British or the American one. You would have to invest time over time. You would have to do constant practice. Listen to it constantly. One audiobook for at least 1 week. At least, I'm saying. During my time, I did it for, just one audiobook for, 3 or 4 weeks. That equates to a month, nearly. What happened after that? When I was constantly doing this practice continuously, you know, going with just one audiobook for the entirety of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or even 4 weeks, later on grabbing the other one, after investing so much time into it, doing it for the second audiobook, the third audiobook, it would take months for you to complete a series of audiobooks. And you would be able to give the right inputs to your brain. Consequently, when that happens, your brain starts to give you the right output. And the right output is that, let me just give you a real example, real experience. That after spending so much time into this practice of listening, when I reached a stage and I was listening to practice, listening to audiobooks, I did not intend on speaking along with it, along with the listening, but my mind was making me do so because I knew what was coming next, the sentence. You could argue that this does not happen in actual conversations. You do not know what's going to be your next sentence. Yes, you're right. By that time, at least you'd be able to speak in a different approach, using different approach. You'd be able to speak in different accent. You'd be able to speak in a different way, a different style. Speaking conversations are dynamic. It's not scripted. So you cannot say that listening is not helping me speak. Speaking is always dynamic. Listening will give you the tools. Tools like when you are following listening practices for a certain amount of time, you'd be presented with tools such as new way of speaking, a new style, you could say, accent. So you do use these tools to, and It's going to be easy for you once you acquire these tools. Believe me, it's going to be easy once you do that. In case that is your dream, in case that is your goal, not dream, but let's say that is your goal. So that's pretty much it. That is what I wanted to discuss. That this is how one can acquire a different accent by all practical experience. There's no theory in it. There's nothing such as that I wrote it down somewhere or maybe I read it. It's all practical. You could find different sources as well. I'm not just saying that this is I'm the only one that has experienced it practically. Not saying that, but this is just one of the experiences that you'd come across while searching for practical experiences. Okay, one more time. This is it. Thank you for listening. I appreciate your time.